You've been quite vocal about youth leadership and community engagement. What are some of the initiatives that you're most proud about?
So the inspiration for me to run for office really is about my son, my nieces, and young people.
With Brampton's rapid rise, do you think there's a case of overdevelopment?
We don't have enough housing in Brampton. In Brampton, single detached homes take up a lot of land.
Can you expand a little bit on RRL, what this is, and how does it hold the landlords accountable?
We have some situations where there are ads from landlords that are asking sex for rent.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Human trafficking.
Yeah, absolutely. The new Youth Wellness Hub as part of the Century Gardens, what has been the feedback from youth so far on the design of this hub?
This is one of the things I'm proud of.
Okay.
Because again, it relates to the next generation and supporting our young people in the city of Brampton.
Myth or fact, Brampton has been accused of being a political stepping stone for leaders who don't stay invested long term.
It's certainly a myth for me.
I see you doing a lot of community walks in different neighborhoods in Brampton. What is the idea behind it?
It's like a walking town hall. It's been really successful.
Hi, I'm Manish Kapoor tuning in from Canada, and I'm really glad you're here. This is where we sit down with some amazing minds, leaders, creators, and change makers to talk about the things that matter. Every episode is a chance to learn something new, get inspired, or just hear a fresh take. So let's get into it.
On today's podcast, we have Councillor Rowena Santos, who represents wards 1 and 5 in Brampton City Council. She made history as the first Filipino-Canadian elected to Brampton's council. A proud Brampton resident who grew up in the city and now raises a son here, she brings deep community roots and extensive experience from her years working at the provincial level, mentoring youth and leading various community-focused initiatives. Her commitment to public service is shaped by a lifelong passion for equity, sustainability, and building stronger neighborhoods across Brampton. In her 2025 review, Councillor Santos highlights a year filled with meaningful progress, from expanding the residential rental licensing program to advocating for economic development, supporting the launch of Brampton's first medical school, strengthening community safety efforts, and pushing for improved infrastructure and traffic calming measures. If you enjoy this episode, please leave a comment, share it with others, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to keep supporting conversations that matter to our community. So, Ms. Santos, thanks for being here and welcome to the Kapoor Podcast.
It's so great to be here.
So, we'll get started. Tell us something about yourself. Where were you born and how long have you been living in Brampton?
Well, my family, my parents, they immigrated from the Philippines in the 1970s, and they settled down in the area of Jane and Finch, where at the time in the 70s, that's where a lot of people would settle in. And we lived in a condo apartment on San Romano Way until I was about 5 years old. And like every immigrant story, my parents, they saved enough money to buy their very first home in Professor's Lake area in the city of Brampton.
Nice.
When I was about 5 years old. And at the time, I remember as a child, because the development of Bramalea was just happening. And I could literally see from my street on Philosopher's Trail across the entire lake of Professor's Lake. Do you know Professor's Lake?
Yeah.
And when we would visit to see the progress of the construction of the house, the small little 3-bedroom house, it was only $94,000. Could you imagine?
I cannot.
Yeah, right? And I could smell the lumber in the air. As a child. And so my parents, they then saved more money. We moved to the N section. I went to St. Thomas Aquinas High School.
Nice.
Did a lot of performing arts, and then went to business school, went to London School of Economics, worked in the private sector, nonprofit sector.
Okay.
And then at Queen's Park, I worked at Queen's Park for about 13 years in politics. And then by 2018, I said to myself, you know what? I've elected a lot of other people. City of Brampton needed more representation, more diversity, more younger voice, and a different type of leadership because we were changing so quickly at that point. And I decided to run for myself. And the rest is history.
So what was the inspiration?
You know, I think the inspiration was really coming back to live in Brampton after a few years, deciding to raise my son in Brampton, and because my family, they still live here in the city. I wanted to be close to my family again, and realizing how quickly the city was changing, and yet how slowly the municipal government was not changing with the times, with the way the direction of the city, rapid growth, diversity, and that was the inspiration. I wanted to move back to a city and create a future for my son.
Okay.
In the same way that I benefited living at Professor's Lake, living in the N section, and making it relevant for the next generation. So what is something
that you saw that you wanted to do, like make a change? Is that something that you saw that the councillors at that time were not doing?
Well, number one, the downtown Brampton was stagnated. The decision around, not having the LRT go to downtown Brampton to connect to the GO train, the fact that it was voted down. Those are all progressive things that help deal with a rapid community when it comes to transit and relieving congestion.
Okay.
And if I am raising my son and I have other nieces and nephews here in the city as well, for that generation not to have access to those types of opportunities because of decisions that were made by, representatives who didn't reflect where the city was going, there was something that I wanted to do about that. So that really is about the next generation and the young people in our city, trying to make our catch up with the changing situation of Brampton.
Makes sense. Now, what are your main duties as a regional councillor?
There's a lot.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that you have to do, and then there are things that if you take the role really on your shoulders, there's the added things that you do too. So from my perspective, I have to attend council meetings. We bring forward decisions related to parks, recreation, community centers, roads, transit, fire stations. At the regional level, the Peel Police budget, how many police officers we need to approve to improve our safety on our streets, or housing situations and housing challenges that we have, how to deal with encampments, homelessness, gender-based violence. These are all decisions that come forward to council tables at the City of Brampton as well as at the region of Peel. And then I sit on numerous committees as well, where we get into detail about those decisions that are being made at the city and regional level. Right now, the region is talking about the budget and property taxes.
Yeah.
Next month in January, we're going to be talking about property taxes at the City of Brampton. Those are the basic things that councillors are expected to do.
How many councillors are there in the city?
In the city, there are 11.
11.
There are 11 councillors.
And how does it work? Like all of you get together to decide? And
once a week.
Like the majority counts? Is that how it works? Okay.
It's usually majority vote with the exception of the budget. So there are some new legislative powers that the provincial government has given large municipalities like the City of Brampton, which is called strong mayor powers. So the mayor does have extra, powers these days with respect to specifically the budget. And some hiring as well at the City of Brampton. But for the most part, the majority of the decisions are made by all of council. And we're fortunate in the City of Brampton where Mayor Patrick Brown likes to take that more collaborative team approach versus being the heavy hand and using strong mayor powers.
That's good. Now, you've been quite vocal about youth leadership and community engagement. What are some of the initiatives that you're most proud about?
So the inspiration for me to run for office really is about my son, my nieces, and young people, and creating a city that has more opportunities for them to live their lives and also raise their own kids in the future.
Yeah.
And this is the added stuff that I'm talking about in terms of the role of a counselor. One I'm most proud of is probably my youth council.
Okay.
And my youth council is 322 young people strong. And we, or I specifically with my team, we mentor all of them. We provide them with opportunities. I have a
Like
youth...
what kind of opportunity?
So volunteer opportunities to get their volunteer hours. I have a youth leadership team and a few of my young people I've been mentoring for many years now who actually had jobs in my office, summer job opportunities in my office, co-op opportunities, internship opportunities. And I have seen these young people go from incredibly shy in grade 8 and 9 to one young person who worked on my team now ended up running for school board trustee as a school representative on the school board. And he ran a campaign regional wide and won. And this is a young man who was afraid to knock on a door back in probably 2022 to now running his own campaign, applying to go to university, being successful. That is, I think, the success that inspired me to begin with, to become a counselor. At the same time, Anish, it's not in my job description. So I think as an elected representative, there you could do the basics, raise your hand, vote, show up to council meetings. But for me, this has been more of an opportunity to create more opportunities for other people to be able to sit at the table. And that requires a little bit more extra work.
Okay. So how old should a youth be? Like, what's the age group? And do they contact you to get enrolled? How does it work?
So on my website, councillorsantos.ca/youth council, there is a registration where young people or parents who want their young people to join can join online.
For sure.
And then we have a WhatsApp group. And it's very informal because young people... Really, the best way to engage young people is through other young people.
Absolutely.
As much as I think I'm super cool and young, and eventually they think I'm cool and young, but it's really a network of them engaging with themselves, mentoring each other, and me and my team guiding them along the way. So, they register online.
Okay, perfect. Now, with Brampton's rapid rise, do you think there's a case of overdevelopment?
We don't have enough housing in Brampton. And I think that given what we had in the past and the development of a traditional suburban community, like where I lived on Professor's Lake or in the N section, in Brampton, single detached homes take up a lot of land. And with the exponential growth in Brampton over the past decade, we don't have enough space to just develop single detached homes. And like any big city, we're now 800,000 people, second largest in the GTHA. We are bigger than Mississauga, right?
In terms of residents.
People, right? In terms of population. And some will argue that there's even more than 800,000. We need to build up. We need to intensify. We need to find ways to be efficient in the space that we have left. And so when you ask the question about whether or not there's overdevelopment, the reality is that across the province of Ontario, we're in a housing crisis. And given the market conditions with the economy, with the trade war, with the tariffs, with COVID, that actually stagnated a lot of construction, we haven't developed fast enough. And I think that is the unfortunate consequence that we're seeing as more people are becoming homeless. They can't find affordable housing. They're being pushed into illegal basement apartments or crowded into multi-unit dwellings converted from a single detached home. I would argue that we haven't developed enough.
Plus the economy is not helping.
Of course. I hope that in the near future, some of the interest rates will go down. Some of our labor shortages will be taken care of. And all the applications that we've approved since the beginning of my first term, finally we'll start to see some shovels in the ground. But it's a difficult time for everyone. And in the meantime, Anish, when we're not injecting more housing into the municipality, that puts a lot more pressure on existing property taxpayers. Because you're not creating more property taxes to collect from if things just stay the same. But the population continues to grow, right? You have to pay for additional services, infrastructure somehow. So that puts more pressure on those people who are still living in those single detached homes because there's no other source of revenue.
And how's the permitting process in Brampton? Is it improved? Is it still time taking?
Oh, no. So Brampton, in terms of development applications and timing, we are one of the fastest,
Okay.
if not the fastest, when it comes to approving applications.
Okay.
We have no problem approving applications. Our biggest challenge, like you mentioned, is the market and actually having the private developers put shovels in the ground. We've created a lot of incentives in Brampton in order to try to get them to make it work in terms of their bottom lines.
What are
like
these
the discount on development charges for
Okay.
specific buildings that are purpose-built rentals.
That's good.
Yeah, so things like that.
Okay, perfect. Now, in a high-rise building like 99 Kennedy Road Road North, residents continue to protest poor conditions, mold infestation, neglected repairs, and are calling on the city to expand landlord licensing to larger buildings. So, what is the city doing to hold large landlords accountable?
So, and I've been a member of ACORN for many, many years. ACORN is one of the advocacy groups that has been involved with that particular building, which is in my ward. And we looked into it. So there is the residential rental licensing program, the RRL,
Yeah.
which is landlord licensing for 4 units or less. And then you've got these really big buildings.
Yeah.
The reality and the fact of the matter is anything related to public health issues like mold, as you're describing, is a pure public health issue that needs to be investigated, as well as any fire matters or fire concerns we could deal with through enforcement of fire code and fire bylaws. But in terms of these bigger buildings, that is really under the jurisdiction of the provincial government
Oh, is it?
and through the landlord tenant board. So those are things that really we need the provincial government to step up and help deal with those matters through the landlord tenant board.
Okay, I see. Interesting. Now, for RRL, like you mentioned, so this, I believe, was started in 2023, right? Can you expand a little bit on what this is, and is it still in effect? And how does it hold the landlords accountable?
So during COVID, which was during my first term, there was an influx of international students coming to Brampton, a large number. And what we saw, because like I mentioned earlier, there wasn't enough housing to put all of the people who were moving into Brampton at the time, what we saw was overcrowding of homes that are turned into rentals, illegal basement apartments, etc. And in 2022, during my re-election campaign going door to door, I saw it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
Mattresses on kitchen floors, complaints from residents about overflowing garbage, too many cars parked in the driveway, spilling into illegal parking on the streets.
Yeah.
And in 2022, when I was reelected, one of my first orders of business in my first meeting was to bring forward some sort of licensing program for landlords to get it under control.
Okay.
And the premise is this. Many businesses, if not all businesses in Brampton, if you're a restaurant, if you're a hair salon, a nail salon, you require a license to operate
Yes.
in order to confirm annually with renewal that you're meeting all the fire code, building code, public health, safety measures, etc., and you agree to random inspections of your business.
Okay.
In the same way, landlords are operating a business. When you rent your home, whether you're living as a homeowner renting out the basement or you're renting your home, you're collecting revenue as a business. You're gaining profit off of that business. And if there's any other place that should be meeting all the safety standards, it certainly should be a place where people are sleeping and living and cooking,
Yeah.
right? And so that argument is why we wanted to license landlords, because we were finding that many people were living in horrible, crowded situations. They were being exploited. We have some situations where there are ads from landlords that are asking sex for rent.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Human
Yeah,
trafficking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And the residents who live in these mature neighborhoods, imagine being a homeowner and the house that's being rented next door every single day has overflowing garbage in the backyard, or rats, or grass and weeds, or cars that are parked all over the front yard. There has to be not only a prioritization of safety, but also character of the neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Because you have to respect the area you live in. And so that is all the reasoning behind the RRL program. We received a report throughout 2023 and updates, and in 2024, we finally started implementing it.
Okay.
There was a lot of protests from
I
slum
saw
landlords.
that. Yeah,
Not
sure.
a lot. It's actually just a handful.
Quite a bit, though.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we dealt with a lot of those concerns. And almost 2 years later, Manesh, we have seen incredible success of the program.
So it's still in effect.
It is 100%.
Okay.
And in fact, the latest report has shown that in the areas that it's been piloted, my areas, wards 1 and 5, 3, 4, and ward 7, we have seen non-compliant buildings. So these are rental units that did not meet fire code or building code with safety issues. About 1,000 of them probably now are now compliant.
Okay.
When before they were not.
So they're turning around.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if you look at over the years, the quality of the neighborhoods, I've observed myself, because I do spot checks in my area all the time.
Okay.
The property standards, the character of the neighborhood, the amount of overflowing garbage has improved.
That's good.
And now we're just weeding out the really bad ones.
So how do you know? Like, someone complains, or do you, like a bylaw officer or someone, goes to check if, these landlords are compliant?
And this is the beauty of Brampton and our residents, right? Like, the city can't do everything on our own. To solve a lot of these big problems, we can't do this on our own. And so the residents in the neighborhoods, they filed their complaints to 311brampton.ca. They filed their complaints about overflowing garbage, about weeds, about grass, about a suspected illegal apartment, about driveway parking overflowing and cars parking overflowing. Those are all symptoms of a rental.
Right.
And usually it's an illegal rental that has not been registered by the city. And based on all of those ongoing reports, we collect enough data and evidence in order to issue an inspection or investigation. And there are fines that are associated with illegal rental units in these piloted areas. It's very easy to look on Kijiji or to other rental sites to see if that house is up for rent.
So how do you impose the fine? Like, is it just a fixed fine that you impose, or do you ask them to become compliant?
So if you have received no complaints in the past on your property, you are asked to become compliant.
Okay.
If you have received, for example, previous complaints related to overflowing garbage on your property, you get no more warning, you get a ticket. And not only do you get the fine, but you also will get escalated fines, doubling of fines, if you continue with that behavior. And if you don't pay the fine, it goes to your property tax bill.
I see. And what are these fines like?
Off the top of my head, I think if you have improperly stored garbage, I think the fine is $300 for the first offense, $500 for the second, and then I think it's $900 every time after.
That's good information. This episode is sponsored by Kapoor Law Firm, your trusted real estate law firm serving all of Ontario. Whether you're buying, selling, or refinancing a home or business, their expert team can guide you through every step. And here's a bonus for our listeners. Subscribers to this show can receive a one-time coupon for their upcoming closing. Visit thekapoorpodcast.com to claim yours. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about downtown Brampton, right?
Yeah.
So there have been small businesses in downtown Brampton that have suffered revenue losses due to ongoing construction and lack of accessibility, right? Is the city doing something to support them?
Our downtown businesses, small businesses, even more broadly, but certainly in the downtown, have gone through a lot over, I'd say, the past few years. First they were faced with COVID, and at that time, all construction stopped. Everything stopped, right? So the challenge here is the reason why there's so much construction now happening in the downtown is because we're catching up on all those delayed projects. Not only catching up with all those delayed projects, but then also doing the other projects that were supposed to be happening now.
Okay.
And so there is tremendous construction
Yeah.
in the downtown. We just announced the Riverwalk project, which is going to completely transform the downtown.
What is
So the Riverwalk project deals with the flood mitigation in downtown.
Okay.
So downtown is a flood zone. I don't know if people know that.
Okay.
But it's a flood zone, and that is the reason why we can't build as many condos in our downtown right
I
now.
see.
Unlike, downtown Mississauga near Square
Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
The Etobicoke Creek Trail, many years ago, decades ago, flooded. And there are channels in the downtown core underneath businesses and roads that were created a long time ago, century ago, that to mitigate the flood.
Okay.
And the Riverwalk project, which we just broke ground last week, will transform that entire creek to widen the creek channel so that it doesn't flood the downtown. And
see.
it'll also be a beautiful walking space and trail for that area as well. A lot of beautiful park improvements. Now, back to the downtown small businesses, in terms of what we've done, we have an incredible downtown BIA, which is
Yeah.
a business improvement area, and they delegated to council about the ongoing construction and the impact on downtown
Yeah.
businesses. So they gave us a proposal for a construction mitigation grant
Okay.
to help businesses if they were struggling to pay with rent because of the construction downtown, et cetera. So we approved that
Okay.
in the budget last year, and many of the small businesses were able to
Apply for it?
benefit.
Oh, that's good. That's good to know. Look, any timelines of when this construction could be completed?
It's like ongoing. I'm going to be honest with you and say this transformation is a long time coming for our downtown core.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
have like the CFI, the Center for Innovation building that's coming in the downtown core. We have the transit hub in our downtown core that's going to be transformational. The LRT now, that's going to be a tunnel under
Yes.
downtown.
Oh, okay.
The Riverwalk, the granite.
There's a lot going on.
There's so much happening, and I wish I was a magician. Because if I was a magician or like an X-Men or an Avenger or something, I would be able to make things happen right away.
For sure.
But unfortunately, with the delays from COVID,
Yeah.
and then with us catching up with all these projects, the construction will be around for a while.
Okay. Now, are there any policies or support that the city has in place for local legacy businesses, like old businesses which are closing or they're struggling in
Yeah.
today's economy?
Yeah, that's so the city of Brampton legislatively, we are not allowed to bonus businesses,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So that's why the construction mitigation grant, which was administered by the downtown BIA, not by the city.
Okay.
So we granted the downtown BIA with some funds, and they created a committee in order to distribute those funds accordingly, arm's length from the city.
Okay.
What you're suggesting is kind of like bonusing. And unfortunately, municipalities are not allowed to give businesses money
I see. Okay.
unless it's through like a contract. And obviously, like they're providing a service to the city, for example.
Okay. And how about, is the city making any supports towards the recent U.S. tariff, that's in place and the businesses are struggling because of that?
Yeah, so I've been working on that issue even before Donald Trump was inaugurated
Okay.
in January.
Yeah.
Of this past year. So when I heard the words come out of Donald Trump, I remember I was actually visiting friends in Nashville, Tennessee, and this was in December of last year, before January 1st of this year, and I visited the Jack Daniel's distillery
Yeah.
in Lynchburg,
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, this little tiny town of Lynchburg, Tennessee, if Donald Trump goes through with these tariffs, one of the first things I bet is going to retaliate from Canada or Ontario anyway is removing American booze off the shelves.
Yeah.
And certainly that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And I tried my best. I flagged it. I said, he's not inaugurated yet. But the fact that he's talking about a 51st state of Canada, the fact that he's talking about tariffs and a trade war, you got to take this guy seriously, even though you can't really take him seriously. But he needs to be taken seriously. And sounding the alarm on that, what I will say is that we are lucky to have such a strong economic development department and a strong mayor. I'm vice chair of economic development, and we have been preparing our businesses, providing toolkits, advocating to the federal government, particularly as it recently happened with the Stellantis plant and the auto sector in the city of Brampton, working in close partnership with the federal government on that. And so, you know, there are only certain things that a municipality can control. Certainly we can't control Trump. But if a plant shuts down or slows down, I know it's the local economy that feels it the most.
For sure.
And so we're doing our best to support those workers, attract new businesses to Brampton, and fight for the jobs that we have in our city.
Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about youth development. So the new youth wellness hub as part of the Century Gardens Youth Hub, which is opening in 2026, will offer mental health, substance use, and wellness services. What has been the feedback from youth so far on the design of this hub?
The youth were part of the design of the hub from the very beginning. So this is, you asked me earlier, one of the projects I'm proud of or things. This is one of the things I'm proud of. Because again, it relates to the next generation and supporting our young people in the city of Brampton. When I was first elected in 2018, one of the things that I really wanted to focus on was creating some sort of a youth hub. And, you know, the delay of COVID, 2.5 years, whatever, we still pressed on this. And we came up with a youth engagement strategy, which actually informed the youth hub itself. We reached out to thousands of young people, asking them what they wanted in the space. And this is actually the second space. So there is one youth hub already existing at the Susan Fennell Sportsplex. It's about 3,000 square feet. It's kind of small. But it provides a gaming room. It provides programming. It provides support for artists. It's a place for youth, by youth.
How big is this one?
This one is going to be 4 times bigger. So this one is 12,000 square feet.
That's big.
I think it's 13,000 square feet.
And what does it involve? Like, what are the things?
There's going to be a kitchen. So there's going to be some cooking classes in there to teach young people how to cook nutritious food. There's going to be support from the provincial government to have primary care in terms of primary health care for our young people. There will be a nurse on site. There's support for mental health as well that will be on site. And there's going to be a lot of space for them to do their homework, to do their events, and to be. And it's really going to be a place for our young people. And I'm so excited that when it opens next year.
Yeah, all the best for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so now the given concerns about youth safety in Brampton in recent times, what is the city doing to make public spaces safer for youth?
Yeah. So this is one of them, right? Making these spaces for youth, by youth, accessible for young people. And I think the success that we've seen, for example, in the Malton Youth Hub at Lincoln Alexander School in Mississauga, is that they do have plainclothes police officers on site interacting with the young people. And I think those are some of the things that in the Century Gardens Youth Hub, we're probably going to see a lot of in order to create some of that safety measure as well. And obviously having enough supervision there and keeping our kids active and engaged in various activities that they want to be involved in. You know, when it comes to our young people, in today's day and age, many of them are attached to their devices, attached to the screens.
Yeah.
It's not the same type of environment that you and I grew up with.
Not at all.
Right? Where we had to dial a phone
Yes.
to talk to someone, or
I was mostly out of the house.
right?
I wasn't in
or
the house.
like riding your bike
Yeah,
somewhere,
yeah.
or at the mall, or in the
Yeah.
playground, or it's not the same.
Not the same.
And so what we want to do in Brampton, which is why we invest so heavily in upstream solutions like, the youth hub, like parks and recreation, like cricket,
Yeah.
like basketball,
Yeah.
like baseball, like hockey. The mayor's a huge fan of hockey.
Yeah.
Is to provide those opportunities to get our kids out and active and focused on other things.
Yeah.
And I think COVID honestly really did a lot of damage to that particular generation
Yeah.
where they weren't able to do that. And I also think that the idea, which is why the Youth Hub is so important, is kids interacting with other people.
That's so important.
Like the social skills.
Yeah.
Not all kids have that anymore, which is why my youth council is important to me because they get to interact with each other, develop leadership skills.
Yeah.
My son was lucky because he grew up in politics his whole life. So he interacted with adults all the
good.
time
Yeah.
and talked to people all the time, but not all kids have that opportunity. So we at the City of Brampton are really investing in upstream
Yeah.
preventative solutions so that our kids, are more socialized and they have other things to focus on other than social media.
Okay. All right. This is great. So I'll ask you a few myth or fact questions.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Let's see. So first one, myth or fact, Brampton has been accused of being a political stepping stone for leaders who don't stay invested long term. Do you think that's true?
Myth.
Myth.
It is
Okay.
not true. I think that we have seen in Brampton's history, in fact, the opposite, where there have been councillors who have stayed on council for too long, actually, and didn't go anywhere else.
Okay.
And that was kind of part of the problem, too. But it's certainly a myth. It's certainly a myth for me. I've had people ask if I want to run provincially, if I want to run federally. And my response is always, I love my city. And until the city gets to a certain point where I want to see it for my son and my nieces and nephews, I'm not going anywhere.
Interesting. Good. Okay, next one. Myth or fact, Brampton is almost out of green space because of overdevelopment.
So we spoke about this earlier
A little
in
bit, yeah,
terms
yeah.
of overdevelopment. I think it's about the right development given the time that we are in now in Brampton and the pressures that we're facing. What is beautiful about Brampton and that people do not know is that, in fact, Brampton has one of the most robust tree canopies of all municipalities in the GTHA. We have some of the best beautiful trails, whether that's along the Etobicoke Creek Trail, the Don Doan Trail, the Fletcher's Creek Trail. We have so many beautiful green spaces like Clairville Conservation, Hart Lake Conservation, Loafers Lake, Professor's Lake, and people use our parks and our green spaces and our trails quite frequently. So
I go to El Dorado quite a
you
bit.
do.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that's true. We do a really good job at preserving as much of our trails and green spaces and tree canopy as much as we can. I think what people are seeing now is overcrowding and people trying to find places to live. And so we're trying to develop differently
Okay.
versus urban sprawl. We are now a big city where we have to intensify.
Okay. All right. Next one, myth or fact, downtown Brampton construction is unplanned and keeps getting delayed.
That's a myth. So, myth and fact. So, it was delayed, yes, because of decisions made by previous terms of council before 2018, right? So, that decision to not have the LRT downtown Brampton delayed us by probably about 10 years, right? And COVID delayed a lot of things for us. Yeah, I think what's interesting is that people forget that happened.
Yeah.
It's almost so traumatizing to the world and to us that we don't even want to think about it anymore. But it did, and it really impacted not just Brampton, but the world for 2.5 years. We were stuck.
Yeah.
We were stuck at home. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
And so, in a way, yes, it is delayed. Myth in that, is it not planned? No, it's 100% been in the works and in the plans for a long period of time.
Okay.
The Riverwalk, for example, has been a conversation forever. The intensification of our downtown, a conversation for a while. The downtown transit hub revitalization, that has been in the plans and is now in public consultation. The streetscaping in downtown Brampton, we're going to be renovating Ken Willen Square and Garden Square. All of those things are planned.
Okay, perfect. Next one, true or false? Brampton doesn't invest in youth beyond sports facilities.
So false. That's all I've been talking about.
I know. Yeah, so
It's
that's an easy
absolutely
one.
false.
Yeah.
You know, with Brampton being one of the youngest municipalities in the country, our average age, I believe, is 37, which is really young. We've got a lot of young people in our city, and we also have a lot of seniors in our city, which we take care of as well. But, you know, you look at our council, it's one of the youngest in terms of age.
Okay.
In the GTHA, we are young, and so to say that we don't think about our young people is not true. I don't think we're investing heavily in young people. One thing that we do every summer to support our young people is called the Explore Brampton Youth Pass. You could ride transit free as a young person in Brampton for the months of July and August, and have access to free recreation and
Why are
drop-in
those 2
programs.
months? Because it's a
Summer.
school of... Okay, all right.
Again, encouraging our young people, especially those who maybe can't afford to go to summer camp or can't afford a car, for example, to be able to get around the city by using transit and have access to free drop-in
So
programs.
do they get a card or do they just... Okay.
Yeah.
And
You
how
get
do
to
they get the
apply.
card?
You apply for it. I believe the application begins in May.
Okay.
And you apply for it, and you get a picture, you get a card, and you could ride transit for free all summer long.
So all buses are free. Okay, that's very good information. Last one, myth or fact, crime in Brampton is skyrocketing every year.
So that's a fact. That's not a fact. That is a myth. That is not a fact. That is a myth. In fact, the amount of auto thefts have gone down in Brampton. In terms of Peel Regional Police statistics, our crime rate is a lot lower relative to other municipalities around the country. We have invested just this year approval of 300 new police officers. And then in the upcoming budget, we're looking at another 175 or so police officers in the next budget. So safety has been a big priority. Now,
Car thefts certainly gone down.
car thefts have gone down, and that took a lot of years of work by our council, particularly the mayor, in pushing for the federal government to invest in scanners at the Montreal port to deal with organized crime. I think what we're seeing in Brampton with the extortions, auto theft, violent break and enters is organized crime.
Yes.
Exploiting some of our vulnerable population who are looking for a quick buck because they're struggling.
Yeah.
So they resort to crime, and our justice system isn't helpful at the moment, because if you get charged with break and enter of a home, you're back on the streets within hours.
Bail is easy.
Right? Yeah. Bail is easy. So, that's the other thing for us in Brampton. We have been pushing very hard for bail reform. I think the federal government has brought forward significant legislation to put us in the right direction on that. But in terms of, crime and safety, I will say because of Brampton's leadership, we have seen those statistics go down. And on top of that, we are seeing the solutions to deal with the root causes of those crimes also being dealt with at the provincial and federal level because of our leadership of our Peel Police and the mayor and council.
Okay. We are also proud to be sponsored by Kapoor Vastralaya, with locations in Mississauga, Ontario, Surrey, British Columbia, and Fremont, California. For the finest selection of ethnic Indian clothing, visit your nearest store and explore their beautiful collection. And just for our subscribers, you can get a one-time discount coupon by visiting theKapoorPodcast.com and filling out the form. Okay, like I told you, I follow you on Instagram, right? And I see you doing a lot of community walks in different neighborhoods in Brampton. What is the idea behind it?
Yeah. So community walkabouts, I call them, are fantastic. I did about 16 or 17 of them this year.
Okay.
And what they are is many residents will email me about concerns, whether that's, illegal rental units in their neighborhood or speeding is a big one in their neighborhood, or parked vehicles that are not being dealt with by law enforcement, or even improvements that they want in their local park.
Yeah.
And with so many residents in a particular neighborhood messaging me, emailing me about those issues, it's just so much easier to meet them on site and walk around. It's like a walking town hall.
Yeah.
And I bring police, I bring bylaw enforcement, I bring park staff, and we all walk around together, and we literally, it's an education on site on how to properly store garbage, what is a bylaw infraction, what is not a bylaw infraction, how to report things. And police are also there taking notes, bylaws taking notes. And it's been really successful. And residents, they love it.
Yeah.
Because there's only so much that you could do reporting something to 311
They can
or
connect
sending
with
an
you.
email.
Yeah, for sure.
When you are in the neighborhood and you're looking at the problems that they are talking about, the ability to find solutions to deal with it is actually faster. So that's why I do it. And I love every single one of them. And we've seen a lot of results because those neighborhoods have had their walkabouts.
So you intend to continue doing this?
Of course. Yeah, 100%. They're great. And from the walkabouts, we've identified local heroes. So in every single neighborhood that I do a walkabout, there's always one or two people who really know their stuff about the neighborhood.
That's nice.
And they're considered our local heroes.
Now, social media has a lot to say about public safety for residents in the nighttime, right? Is the city doing something to address this concern?
When you say nighttime safety,
Yeah.
you're talking about...
Car thefts, general thefts, break-ins, stuff like that.
Yeah. So one of the things that we've been doing, in addition to hiring more police officers, obviously that was one thing that we were really behind in at the region of Peel, is the number of police officers per capita in our region. One of the things that we have done is invested in high-resolution cameras at major intersections to help police with investigations dealing with auto theft or break-and-enters.
Okay.
And I went on a ride-along with Peel Police just a few weeks ago.
I saw that as well.
Yeah, and they showed me where they watch all their high-resolution cameras. And it is incredible the amount of information they are able to get and obtain. Now, investigations with police take sometimes a really, really long time to pull all the evidence and pieces together. But the fact that those high-resolution cameras exist, that Brampton invested in them, that we are partnering with the police on it, and that residents are reporting these things, we are able to crack down on these criminals a lot faster than just turning a blind eye.
Okay. Now, some of the residents say that Brampton is not attracting as many high-paying jobs as the city of Toronto or Mississauga. What do you have to say on that?
Well, as Vice Chair of Economic Development at the City of Brampton, I don't think that's necessarily true. We have incredible entrepreneurial, innovative, creative spirit in the city of Brampton through organizations like Beehive, which is an international startup support system for international startup businesses to get support here and then expand their product and market in the rest of Canada, for example. And we have an entire innovation district, which is an ecosystem to support startup businesses, to scaling up, to becoming even bigger. The other thing that I want to note, a lot of people don't know, but the city of Brampton is very much so an advanced manufacturing city. We have MDA, which is aerospace.
MDA just came in.
Yeah, no, they've been here for a while, but they're expanding.
Okay.
And they are the ones who have designed and manufactured the Canada arm on the International Space Station. I just attended a hackathon with about over 300 young people who were doing a hackathon on space, right? Space technology, including AI and everything else. And I tell you, these kids in Brampton are brilliant. Brilliant. And they are in robotics and AI and space technology. It's insane how smart they are. And what matters the most is that we're having these hackathons because we are able to harness that talent, figure out who they are, and then inject them into the ecosystem so that they stay in Brampton. So when people say, Brampton isn't attracting enough more knowledge-based, more advanced type of jobs. That's not true because businesses know that the talent is here.
Interesting. Okay. So this one, after a sexual assault crisis center pleaded for funding to stay open, a lot of city councillors stayed silent. Right? What is your take on this? Yeah.
So I know exactly what you're talking about. The silence was because we had to protect the organization in terms of sharing why they shut down. So Hope 24/7, which is what that organization was before it was called something else. I believe they changed their name to Revive. Hope 24/7 unfortunately had a lot of governance issues.
Okay.
And the province of Ontario pulled their funding.
Okay.
Because of governance issues.
Okay.
And because of that, they had to completely change the name of their organization, get a different board, essentially kind of start from scratch. Now, if the province of Ontario pulls funding from an organization, it's inappropriate for us to then
comment on that. I see.
Right? So it's a lot of that information is confidential. The good news is that they were able to rebrand themselves.
Okay.
They were able to create a new governance structure for themselves, a new board of directors. And moving forward, they will have opportunity again to apply for more funding.
Okay. That's good. That's good. And then how do you ensure that the voices of diverse communities are heard and well represented?
Well, to be frank with you, I kind of have no choice, right? We are in Brampton. We have 250 different cultures, 171 different languages. I'm the first Filipino to be ever elected in the city.
Yeah.
We have the first turban-wearing woman who sits on our council, and Navjeet Kaur Brar, who's a dear friend of mine. We kind of have no choice in terms of listening to the diverse backgrounds and experiences of the community that we serve. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to hear those different voices and perspectives. Yeah. At the same time, it takes a lot of balance, right? It's sometimes very challenging because many different cultures and people who come to Brampton unfortunately bring with them some trauma, some baggage from their experience back home. And so what's important for Brampton is that we celebrate and support all the different communities in celebrating their heritage and celebrating their culture and also listening to some of the pain that they brought with them from back home.
Okay. Now, as a councillor, what are some of the most common complaints that you receive from the residents of Brampton?
Parking.
Yeah.
Parking?
Yeah.
Believe it or not, parking is the number one complaint to 311.
Yeah.
Like it's phenomenal. So parking is number one. The other issue that we get a lot of is speeding.
Yeah.
So speeding and bad driving in Brampton, people who are not stopping at the stop sign, people who are not stopping for the school buses.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So driving, anything related to cars
Yeah.
is number one complaint
So
in
how do they
Brampton.
complain? Like they send an
Through-
email or?
So through 311,
Yeah.
as well as through email, or I have something on my website because of this issue with bad drivers.
Yeah.
I have a road report thing where residents can actually put a pin on a map and describe what the problem is,
Okay.
like people not stopping at the stop sign or people like speeding on a road. And so I'm able to track that as well. And then
Yeah.
Peel Police obviously have the Road Watch program where residents are complaining about the different violations. This goes down to, again, safety. You
Yeah.
know, I visited Japan, I also visited Germany, and I tell you, they don't have the same problems because people are following the rules.
Yeah.
And while a lot of folks call 311 and ask the city to enforce many of these problems, the reality is that we can all do our part, save property tax dollars,
Yeah.
and just follow the rules.
So I came in to Canada in 2010. I started driving. I remember we got a car, and the first time I used my honk was after a year, and
Okay.
that too because the car in front of me on the red light was not moving. So just to let him know that. So,
Wake up! Wake
yeah,
up!
yeah. So it was good at that time. Even 2010, 2012, 14, 15 was good. But like recently we see all these speeding, rash driving. It's getting a bit crazy.
And I'll tell you, there's something to be said. So one of the, we've dealt with the speed camera issue, trying to slow the cars down, try to get people to follow the rules. But to your point, Manish, like the provincial government did make changes to how people obtain their driver's licenses. It is not the same way and as strict as it was when you and I got our driver's licenses. So again, during COVID, when international students came into the city of Brampton, the provincial government changed legislation to make it easier for them to get their driver's license. Now, one of the ways they expedited it is by saying, well, you don't need to do this thing to get your driver's license. You could skip that process because you've been driving for X number of years in India, for example. But the way they drive in India is very different than
Yeah.
how they drive here
For
in
sure.
Brampton.
Yeah, it's totally different.
Right?
Yeah.
And so the Auditor General in 2023, December of 2023, actually issued a report with, I think, 25 or something recommendations with concerns that really deal with safety issues. So there are drivers out there who got fraudulent training certificates from fraudulent driving schools. There are drivers out there who were found to obtain driver's license by paying cash to people at Service Ontario who
Really?
should not be driving on
God.
our roads,
Yeah.
right? And these are things that, quite frankly, the provincial government must fix, and they haven't done that. Instead, they're taking away our speed cameras and putting up these big signs
Yeah.
that, quite frankly, some of these drivers don't even know what they are.
Yeah.
So they really need to fix the driving license, the way that driver's licenses are issued, and listen to that Auditor General's report and deal with fraudulent driving schools and fraudulent licenses being handed out.
Okay, I have one more for you. So I had this concern for myself. So there was this neighbor, and he was playing loud music because they had a family event, some marriage function, something, and they kept blaring the music so loud around 2 or 3 at night. So it just kept going. You can't sleep, kids can't sleep, nothing, right? So what can a resident do if he's facing that kind of a situation? Because you can't wait till the morning, right? Because you're losing sleep. Next day you have to go to work, right? So
I've dealt with this with many residents in the area that I represent.
Okay.
And whether that is really loud, blaring music and parties that happen ongoingly every weekend, or loud cars, or loud cars that pull up at 3 a.m. blaring loud music. noise violations are one of the most challenging things to enforce.
Okay.
The reason is because by the time an enforcement officer or the police are able to get there, usually it's gone, right?
Yeah.
And so what I tell residents who have been experiencing this is, number one, make sure you report it. Always report it. And I know it sucks at 2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
I would not call 311. I would go online, 311brampton.ca,
Okay.
and report the complaint. You get a reference number at the end. And in addition to filing the complaint, making sure that you take a video of it. We all have our cameras. We all
Yeah.
have Ring cameras on our doors.
And you can submit it online?
You could submit it online,
Okay.
or if it's too large of a file, you take your reference number from your complaint, you attach the file in an email, and you send it to your local councillor.
Okay.
And then at least there's a record of it. And noise violations, I believe, are considered a priority 1 now for bylaw enforcement. We've made a lot of changes to standard operating procedures for bylaw. So noise violations are now more of a priority. And if it gets to them on time, then hopefully they can catch them with
So
the
what does
loud
the city
music.
do once they receive a complaint?
Well, there's usually an investigation, and if the noise is still happening when the enforcement officer gets there, they will receive a ticket.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Perfect. This has been really amazing. Thanks so much for your time. Any last word, piece of advice for our residents, for the residents of Brampton?
You know, we live in a beautiful city, the city of Brampton. We're not perfect, and we're growing, and with growth come a lot of challenges. But we are fortunate because we have residents and a council and a mayor who are willing to, persevere through those challenges to bring out the best that our city has to offer. And so never ever give up faith in our city and what our potential is, because really Brampton is incredible, and we are trailblazing and a leader in many ways in our country.
Perfect. Thank you so much. This has been insightful, and I'm pretty sure a lot of residents will learn a lot from this episode. Thank you so much.
I hope so. Thanks, Manish.
Thanks. This episode of the Kapoor Podcast was proudly sponsored by Kapoor Law Firm and Kapoor Australia. If you are enjoying the show and want a one-time discount code, head over to our website, thekapoorpodcast.com, and fill out the form to receive your subscriber-only discount code. Whether you're looking for legal expertise or premium Indian ethnic wear, our sponsors have you covered. One more request to all of you, please do subscribe to the show and leave a comment to let us know what you think and how we can improve. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.